The river had always been a dangerous place, its currents twisting like serpents beneath the surface. But that morning, it seemed calm enough for me to cross. My horse drank from the shallows while I crouched to wash my face, the chill biting at my skin, when a cry split the air. So raw, so desperate, it froze me where I stood. I turned, scanning the tree line, the open valley, then the water. At first, I thought it was a trick of the wind. Then I saw her, a girl, fighting for her life, flung about like a doll in the river's grip, her hands clawed at the surface, her hair tangled in wild braids across her face, her chest heaving as she struggled for a breath that never came. I didn't think. I didn't weigh my chances. I just moved. Boots splashing, rifle discarded, I lunged into the current. It was colder, deeper, stronger than I expected, pulling at me like it wanted me too. My lungs screamed, but I kept my eyes on her. Every time she went under, my chest tightened. Every second she vanished felt like an eternity, until finally my arm caught hers. She fought me, panic making her wild, her nails biting into my shoulder, her kicks nearly sending us both down into the darkness. But I locked my arm around her and kicked harder, forcing us back toward the shallows, refusing to let go, even when my body begged me to surrender. By the time I dragged her limp weight onto the sand, I could barely breathe myself. She coughed, choking, spitting river water, her whole body shaking with life, clawing its way back inside. And then she opened her eyes, dark, deep, and locked on mine as if the rest of the world had disappeared. I expected gratitude, maybe fear, maybe even for her to run off once she found her strength. But she didn't move away. Instead, she crawled closer, her wet hand clinging to my arm, her breathing ragged but steadying. I told her she was safe, that the danger had passed. But she only stared, her lips parting as if to speak, before closing again. She whispered something I couldn't understand, words in a tongue older than mine, then pressed her forehead to my arm, as though sealing some silent vow. I didn't know what it meant, but it unsettled me. I had saved her life. That much was true. But now, I feared I had bound myself to something I didn't understand. The sun dipped lower as I built a fire near the bank, her shivers uncontrollable, until I draped my blanket around her shoulders. She sat there watching me, her gaze heavy, never breaking. It was like being under constant guard, though whether she was protecting me or herself, I couldn't tell. Her clothes clung to her, soaked and torn, and though she looked fragile in that moment, there was steel in her spine. She was no ordinary girl. That much I knew. The beads around her neck, the leather bindings at her wrists, the feathers braided into her hair, all spoke of the Apache. I had heard stories of them, some fierce, some tragic, but never once imagined I would sit across from one as night swallowed the valley. I told myself she would leave at dawn, that she would thank me in her way, vanish into the forest, and I would never see her again. But when morning came, she was still there. She rose as I packed my things, walked when I walked, stood when I stood. I mounted my horse, rode ahead, looked back. She followed, barefoot, determined, her dark eyes unyielding. I told her no. I told her she couldn't come with me, that I wasn't her keeper. But she shook her head, pointed to me, then to her chest, and spoke again in words I couldn't grasp. All I knew was she wasn't letting me go. And so began the strangest journey of my life. Me, a wanderer of the frontier, and her, the girl I had dragged from the jaws of death, bound to me as if I had become her shadow, or she mine. Every mile she followed, every campfire we shared, I felt the weight of her presence pressing deeper into my soul. I didn't know her name. I didn't know her story. But I knew one thing. Saving her was only the beginning.